Cheers!
Happy
Happy
Wine
Wine
Wednesday.
Wednesday!
Woo!
You're eating
It's
wine
a
of ours, girl. Yeah! Carl's Wine Club
rosé.
members, everyone across the country, you, Mira Boucher, it's Rosé
Rosé.
Wednesday. It's Rosé
Yeah,
Wednesday. Hey?
so exciting. I
It-
I I have like some pretty spectacular rosé in my glass, and we're about to meet the winemaker that made it. So it's pretty damn good day. Yeah.
oh, I mean, right? When we see that label, when we see the lavender flower with Seven Direction, we know that we're up for a pretty good, darn good time. And we've been sipping on these
Absolutely.
wines for a couple of weeks now. We've been writing notes. We've been enjoying the wines, and like this is always a gift. It's always a privilege to have this in our glass, and especially this year because it might be the last time we see them for a while. So anyway, this is Seven Direction week, Seven Direction Rosé, and we're gonna share that with you all today. So happy Wine Wednesday! We are thrilled to have
Woo!
everyone across the country. Vicky's here already. Happy Wine Wednesday, Vicky. Mira, how's your
Great to
week?
see you. Well, it was a good week. It was a good week. I'm just letting Instagram in here. How about you, Carl Boucher?
Oh, like I said, when it's Seven Direction time, it's always good time. It's right. We're opening the door to rosy season right now, right? It's just starting now. All the wineries have, or most of the wineries have bottled their 2023 rosé. So we're going to see in the next weeks, in the next months, an avalanche of rosés, mostly the new vintage coming in. So, yeah, it's the rosé season. It's right here, and we're kicking it off. I mean, we kind of had our first rosé last week in our last feature with Claus and Chase, and we started it with a bang because I usually prefer the Okanagan rosés. I think often that there's more finesse in the Okanagan rosés. There's a little bit more texture. Um, Usually the top end,
Controversial. Okay.
yeah, but Clausen Chase absolutely blew me away. I was so impressed. It was
Yeah.
so good, that Pinot Noir rosé. But now this is truly rosé season, and we actually started to receive our samples for the annual rosé report and marathon that's going to be at the end of June. So the house is getting flooded by rosé samples. So, but today we're talking with the rosé master. We're going to talk with Daniel Bontorin because he's in the house. He's behind you. He's at home, right live in Carl's Wine Club studio. So it's going to be great to chat with him. But before we chat with Daniel, Mira, it's the NFL schedule release day. So, I had to wear the Ravens at least a little something. So we're,
There you go.
come on. I have my, all of my little like bling bling telling me which game is going to be played when. So come on, it's a big day today. It is a big day. So we're wearing the hat. It's casual day, but it's rosé times. But darn that these rosés are good.
Whoop,
So
whoop.
there's some. Aha! There you go. There's always something unique and special about the first of something, right? You always remember your first kiss. You always remember your first. A lot of things you remember for the first.
Remember a lot of firsts. I know. Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of that. And and Seven Direction was our first ever feature with Carl's Wine Club with Bottega Wine Studio.
That's
So
true.
that's where I was. Damira, stop it, okay? Come on, that's where I was
Yes,
going with that conversation. The first ever feature with Carl's Wine Club was
there you
with
go.
Bottega Wine Studio, and Daniel and Christine. And every time it happened, it makes me think about the first time. So, and we have great memories about the first one. So yeah, this is this year. So we have again the outstanding Tractor and Vines, the 2023 vintage, that single vineyard, a stone throw away from here at Carl's Wine Club Studio, the Tractor and Vine Vineyard in Summerland. So this is the 2023, a 93 points, Carl's Wine Club. I mean, there's the only rosés in the history of Carl's Wine Club who ever rated 94 or 93 points. So, and he's done it again. So 2023 is an absolute beautiful Pinot Noir rosé. Hotter, warmer, more texture, more body, but still the tractor that we know, the tractor profile that we've used to call it, because you and me, Mira, had the privilege, the absolute privilege to taste 12 vintages of the tractor and vine. So we know a bit of the profile, but not all tractors, but Pinot Noir rosé from Daniel. Let's call it that way. At least 6 or 7 tractor and vine. So so that's tractor, and the other one is the Cabernet Franc rosé. A first for Daniel in 7 Direction because it's not Frizzle Ridge single vineyard anymore. It's a different source of fruits. Instead of being from Oliver, it's from Osoyoos, from a warm spot in Osoyoos. So we're going to talk about that with Daniel. So this is 7 Direction and Bottega Wine Studio week here at Carl's Wine Club, and it makes it for another amazing week. So in my glass and in your glass, Mira, there's also a pretty nice Pinot Gris. Riverstone just released.
Does that make it a rosé kind of?
Well, I mean, I didn't even thought of it. I just wanted to serve Daniel a nice welcome cold, nice wine. And I'm like, yeah, it's skin contact. And when I put them in the glass, they kind of look like each other, right?
Right.
So skin contact Pinot Gris can become a rosé wine. So yeah, it's on topic for tonight. So, but that 2023 brand new release of Riverstone, it's pretty darn impressive. Holy moly, that it's a good wine. So we know Riverstone. We're gonna have an announcement about Riverstone very soon, I guess. Right?
Yeah, we are. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Probably do that tomorrow. Special announcement for those of you that have been voting for our winery of the year. Hint, hint, hint.
We're gonna have a special announcement about Riverstone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome.
So go ahead.
Yeah. Guess what? I'm gonna get out for a second. I'll let you chat a little bit and introduce Daniel, who is gonna be on in about 30 seconds. How about that? He came in person. Did you not? So these rosés. The Tractor and Vines Vineyard is actually around the corner from our house. So Daniel was there today assessing the situation. So I think we'll hear from him on that. And he's here in person, which is pretty cool.
It sure is. It sure is. It's the Rosé Master, Daniel Bontorin. Yoo-hoo! So no, I'm always excited to chat wine with Daniel, a acclaimed consultant winemaker across the valley. And I mean, yeah, Mr. Rosé himself. He has over 60 rosé wines made since he started with Le Vieux Pain in 2005 with the first ever Viola Rosé. And since then, he has made over 60 different iterations of rosés. And like we mentioned earlier, we had the privilege to do a back vintage vertical of the Pinot Noir rosés, and we are putting together, that we're going to talk a little bit later, the a vertical tasting of the Cabernet Franc rosé later this summer, well, in a month now from today, at the Okanagan here at the Okanagan College. So it's going to be pretty interesting to see all the way far to 2015. This very Cabernet Franc rosé will be in a vertical tasting, just to show people the potential of aging in terms of rosé wine, and it's absolutely spectacular. In the context of the Pan-Canadian Masterclass, we are organizing some satellite tasting during these 4 days of celebration, and with Daniel having that Cabernet Franc rosé vertical retrospective all the way back to 2015. So it's going to be an absolute blast on June the 13th here. So there you go. Here he is.
Yeah.
Hey, everyone.
Hi.
Thanks for having me. Thanks, Carl. Nice to
That's
be back
weird.
again.
It's really freaking weird. Okay, just it's usually my wife's face behind that.
Oh.
Anyway, Dad, how's it going, my man?
Awesome. Really good. Yeah, it's been a super hot week, and we got the tasting room open now all summer. So that's going to be good. First full season.
First full season of Bottega Wine Studio in Coston in the Similkameen Valley. How about you give our people a little bit of retrospective of your project, of you and Christine, how it started, and how do you end up in the Similkameen, and what's coming up next for Seven Direction and Bottega Wine Studio?
Well, as you know, we started with Seven Directions back in 2012. That was the vision of myself and Christine, and my love for Rosé, the passion for it. So Seven Directions, if any, people who haven't followed us and such, but it's Seven Directions is Christine and I and our blended family of 5 kids. So none of them live with us anymore, but as you know, everybody has different personalities and directions in life. So we thought it was a really nice fitting name for the 7 of us. And of course, the lavender, the flower of Provence. So that was a really good fit there. And in 2019, we, being a virtual winery and a garagiste, as they called us, back then, not having a brick and mortar building, working under other liquor licenses, it was a really good start, but there were certain limitations on what we were able to do and what we couldn't do. And then in 2018, we decided to either keep going or just not do it anymore. So we decided to keep going. And
that was a crossroad. It was a crossroad, right?
Absolutely. It was either, keep it going or that's it. Just keep on consulting and, live normal lives. But didn't want to do that. Always got to take the hardest route. So we decided to look in the Similkameen. A lot of it was price point and price of land. Coston, Karameas area was still very reasonably priced at the time. So that's kind of where our wallet took us, I guess.
Yeah.
So we sold our place in OK Falls. We were there for 2 years. Actually, 5 houses down from Code Wines.
There you go. Oh, you were on Peach Cliff, eh?
Peach Cliff Drive, yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah. We actually, Christine and I, we didn't know him at the time, but Christine and I joked that, hey, I could just walk there and make his wine for him, if we still lived there. But anyways.
But so when you bought the property in Coston, was it was it already planted, or is it just virgin land and you've decided, okay, I'm going to buy virgin and I'm going to go my route, I'm going to go my way, and we're going to start from absolute scratch? How did that happen?
Yeah, there honestly wasn't a lot available at the time. There was literally two 5-acre parcels. It was habited, but it hadn't been farmed for quite a while. Basically ground crops, more garlic than not. And there was I think it was 32 dead cherry trees in the 2 front little blocks there. Basically just complete sawdust. They were never taken care of and such. So we ended up pulling those out. So in 2019, when we purchased, we started renovating the house that we live in now. And at the same time, we ripped out the trees, started clearing the land, ripping the soil, getting some air in it, putting in some nutrients back in the soil. At that time, there was not even there wasn't a worm, there wasn't a pill bug, there wasn't a spider. The ground was pretty dilapidated.
Oh my God, no life in there. Eh?
Now you can see the soil's getting a little bit richer. We're doing nutrients. We're putting in compost. Lots of praying mantis now. Lots of bugs, pill bugs, worms. So everything's and we're farming organically too. So that's helping bring back the ecosystem.
So from what you were doing in the past, you've worked with Pinot Noir. You have a very special spot of Pinot Noir here in Summerland, and you had a very solid source of Cabernet Franc. But when you planted at the winery, you decided to go a little different though, because you planted some Grenache that not a whole lot of people around have decided to go that route. But your love for rosé and the Provence made you go to plant some Grenache, right?
Yeah, we planted. So it's almost 1/3 split between Cabernet Franc. We're on clone 214, and then Pinot Noir 667, which is the same as Tractor and Vines as well. And then the Grenache clone 27. Basically, there's only a couple clones of Grenache that are available in North America. So it was either picking. They call it Grenache Tinta. So it's kind of like a.
That's more of the Spanish. That's more of the Spanish style of the Garnacha.
Yeah. They're all imported from France, so they're not from the like North American vineyards. So the Grenache is pretty temperamental. It doesn't like the cold, but it likes wind. Of course, its main growing area is on the Mediterranean sea area there, so a lot of wind. We do have a lot of wind in Costin, quite windy.
Quite a bit.
And they grow nice and straight, so I thought it was a really good fit. And of course, we haven't pulled a crop yet. We're on the fourth leaf for the Cabernet Franc Pinot Noir and third leaf for the Grenache. Technically, if we had a really good winter, we probably would have had, a good crop of Cab Franc, a decent crop of Pinot, and probably half a crop of Grenache. But right now, it's very late season. There's just starting to come out now. We just had a week of really nice weather, 30 degrees, 28, 30. So things are pushing a little bit, but we'll see. There's quite a bit of damage from the past January freeze across the Okanagan. But there's life out there. There's a few clusters, depending on if it's coming off of a third year or second year wood. I'm seeing little clusters even in the Pinot Noir at my place. So
so that's what I wanted to bring with you. I don't want to be because I really don't want to be. I'm done being pessimistic. I'm done saying that we're probably like there's such a disaster and this and that. I mean, it is what it is. It's farming, but I think it's getting a little bit more. I'm getting a little bit more positive vibe in the last week or so from people who are boots in the vineyard, and I'm seeing lots of better news than what we were expecting. Danielle, you also, outside of this, you also have some consulting that you're doing. So what have you noticed? Because I think everyone who's listening right now, they're all aware that what happened in January, bad frost, we had potentially lost the whole crop for this year. But now, keep us updated. What are you seeing between Tractor and Vines here in Summerland, between Osoyoos, where your consulting clients are, and Cowston? What are you seeing?
Well, again, at our place in Costin there, depending on where the shoot's coming from and what year of wood that is coming from, we're seeing a few clusters here and there. If they're going to make it to full on grape clusters, it's hard to tell. It's hot already. There's not a lot of water in the soil. It's dry, so it's really important to keep the vines hydrated and watered so they can, whatever grapes are there won't end up drying out over time as we go along here. Tractor and Vines, I'm actually really surprised. There is some clusters there. Probably not enough to make rosé. There's definitely gonna be less than last year. We only got 2.5 tons last year, which is almost half of what we normally get.
And in terms of case production, we're looking at like 150 cases, 125 to 50 cases compared to the full crop, what we usually see with Tractor, 250 cases, right?
That's right. Yeah. So being a little bit colder, I'm thinking lucky if we get a ton. So cost of farming economics will be quite a bit more. So putting that small volume of grapes into a rosé doesn't make sense. So that's kind of where we're gearing to. We'll maybe it'll be really good probably. So we'll probably make a red for Bottega.
Which is usually the premium red that you get, or white that you're making exclusively in fantastic years, right?
Yeah. So So
Okay.
Bottega's reserved for those special lots, those special, those really low yield vintages, exceptional grapes and stuff. So we may end up having a little bit there. And in Osoyoos, I mean, Bordertown, my client in Bordertown there, we're seeing fruit in Chardonnay, Riesling, Pinot Gris, Cabernet Franc. I haven't looked at his Merlot. Syrah kind of got hit pretty good. Malbec got hit. Petit Verdot. So there's going to be a little bit. Last year was about 2.5 tons an acre, when normally it's 5, 6, 7, depending on if it's white or red. So it's definitely going to be less this year, but there is something there. And then this Cabernet Franc vineyard here at Frank's place, it's actually looking pretty good. I was there 2 days ago, and there's quite a few clusters there. So, and the reason we picked that vineyard for the Cabernet Franc Rosé, so he has 1.25 acres of Cabernet Franc, and we got 5.5 tons of grapes when everybody else got 2.5 tons.
Oh wow!
Right, so it's I guess it's a pretty special vineyard. It's very much in a residential area. I guess there's a lot of houses around. Of course, there's a lot of pavement. So I think the heat of everything around it, its own like micro terroir, I guess you could say.
Yeah, that's cool.
Kept it alive more than normal places that are, I guess, wider open without those effects. So we'll probably get a couple tons there, but again, not enough for rosé. So we'll probably make that for a Bottega, which we did the other half of this Cab Franc rosé ended up being in our red program. So yeah.
Okay,
so,
well that's interesting.
It's there's fruit out there. It's just a matter of how much and is it going to sustain its growth throughout the season, right?
Yeah, exactly. Canopy management, watering, and the whole farming process now is going to take all of his, like at the highest importance, especially this year, to see how much or if we see any grapes making it to the finish line, right? So it's going to be an interesting summer to follow. Let's backtrack now to 2023, which was a small crop, but a very high quality crop with a hot vintage. So across the valley. So now we had, unfortunately for you, there was very small amount of wine produced, but fortunately for us as consumer, it was high quality grapes.
Absolutely.
So let's start with the 2023 Tractor and Vines. As Danielle, you and me talk all the time. This is the crown jewel of rosé in Canada. This is one of a very special plot of land in the Okanagan, right here in Summerland, stone throw from our house. And the 2023 provided something with a little bolder, a little richer, but that very classic tractor who comes up at the end and making sure that we remind ourselves where it's come from. So 93 point, Danielle. Well done.
Thank you. Yeah.
You worked your ass off for that one. You sure did.
It was quite a season. We did a lot of work ourselves out in the vineyard there. So hot vintage. I mean, visually, it looked like we were going to get, close to. I was figuring maybe 3.5 tons. A little bit off what we were just visually. So what we always do with this vineyard is we keep as many leaves as we can on. We don't want a lot of sun penetrating in. We're looking for freshness. We're looking for lower alcohol, lower sugar in turn. So purpose farming. We want that vibrancy, that acidity. So we did our normal, take 50% of the leaves off on the north side. So we get a little bit of ripening happening there. And then at the 3rd week of August, when all the heat's gone, then we take off the hot side and then we take off the rest of the leaves. So we have about a month and a half there. Usually we're harvesting mid-October to just get that extra little bit of ripening. So at that stage, we have some purple berries. We have some greenish gray berries that haven't quite fully changed color. So we have different acid levels in there. So by the time October comes, everything's going to be all nice and evenly ripened.
Yeah.
So what happened this year is we got another heat wave after that. So with no leaf covers, and we dry farm it because the water table is so high, so we don't use any irrigation. The grapes actually start to dimple. So for a Pinot Noir, I mean, it would have probably been a spectacular, like premium high-end Pinot Noir. Like Syrah, you want a little bit of dimpling in the grapes. It's a sign of the, you're changing the juice to skin ratio. The skins are becoming darker, but we don't want that for Rosé. So we decided to pick it. And so now, of course, we're really good product. We've got 13% alcohol. Acidity's on point. The flavors are on point. And as you're saying, so we ended up with just over 2.5 tons. So we're down almost 2 tons off the property. So that's where we're getting the extra weight from. So it's a little bit heavier on the palate. Right now, it's not as showy as Tractor usually is, but that's going to come out in the bottle as it ages. We're more mineral based this year. More
and
terroir.
I totally mentioned it, like something I totally got when I was tasting it for the first time is that salinity. That, I mean, it's a classic of Tractor, but this one was like, instead of coming up right at the end, you start feeling it a little bit in the mid palate and lingering all the way to the end. And there's one thing special that I noticed in that one is the pencil shaving. I mean, this
don't ask me. I don't know.
that was unique this year in the Tractor to have on the nose that little pencil shaving that sometimes you got in the Cabernet Sauvignon or in the Meritage blend. And I'm like, holy moly. Like, it was little, and it was quiet right up there. And when you taste the wine, and I keep thinking of that aromas, and I had that little charcoal sensation, and like there's a very unique profile this year that was the first time I never heard, and it makes it like a beautiful personality because you match that with the little bit more weight than usual, and that beautiful texture. I mean, it makes an incredible complexity to that wine.
Yeah, well, it's got that textbook saltiness still. So it's when you smell it and taste it, even blindfolded, you're like, this is Tractor and Vines. But you're right, with that lower yield, we're definitely picking up more soil based, more terroir based out of it. Again, the pencil shavings, I couldn't tell you. So we never had that in Tractor and Vines. But we've also never been this low of yield. We've had 3.2 tons before. I believe that was 2018.
Oh, 18.
It was. Yeah, there was a miscommunication between shoot thinners. They did beautiful spacing, but didn't really, the yield went down.
Yeah. That's how you get fired.
So we've over the years, we've been doing certain things ourselves, the important parts of, like shoot thinning, fruit thinning, which are of course very important for yield and flavor profile. So we've taken those tasks on ourselves just to make sure that we're, but the last few vintages we've been 4.2 tons, kind of the norm. That's what I see visually. So
that's the natural balance of the vineyard. We talk about that quite often, and I've been having that conversation with multiple viticulturists over the years, when sometimes wineries will use that low yield as a marketing point. Oh, we never do more than 2 tons an acre. We never do more than that. We thin very, very, very low because it's always there's one thing that we need to understand as a consumer. So each vineyard has a different balance, right? Some vineyard will thrive with a bigger crop, right? True?
Yeah, absolutely. Like take for instance Syrah. Syrah does way better at 4-ish tons an acre than it does at 2. Around the Oak. Sometimes when you're too low, you can actually revert back to greenness.
That's interesting.
Right. So there's definitely that. You can also mitigate flavor with water. So certain points in time you can water, which as soon as you water the berries, they take on fruit. So you slow down the ripening stage, but you can also change the profile of the flavors, the fruit flavors and the acidity and such. So there's definitely vine balance is a big viticulture term.
Yeah.
So, and tractor vines having the water table up at about 6 feet. We've never watered since we're actually going to just be watering today because we're mentioning earlier that the water table are so low that they're not used to that, so they actually look like they need water. So the berry, whatever little fruit is there's some little brown spots on the flowers, which indicate that they're drying a little bit. So we're just going to give them a tiny bit of water just to boost the growth a bit, and then after that they can mitigate themselves. So.
Well, and just to give you an example of that, because we are on the Okanagan Lake here, okay, the studio here. So when you walk, you see the water table is kind of low right now. Walk outside, go check the lake. Usually at this time of the year, you're a foot under the retaining wall. If you go see there right now, there's no water at the retaining wall at all. The water stopped at the beach, and they've never seen that before at this time of the year. So yeah, it's definitely really dry. So I understand that the water table at the vineyard out there, 900 meter from here, is probably that's much lower than usual because we didn't have the rain this spring and the amount of snow we had over the winter.
We had very little snow actually at all. So
Yeah.
We say dry farming, at the same time you don't want to kill the plants. So you kind of have to, do a little bit of
So
try to balance it out a bit, give it a little bit of help, and then once they start growing a little bit more, then it'll play catch up, and then they'll mitigate themselves after that. So
we have Christian Tortenson here who's listening to the show tonight. Christian, my man, happy Wine Wednesday, my Christian. Thanks for tuning in. Christian's mentioning that yes, this is indeed the best rosé in Canada, hands down, some of the best rosés in the world. So it's
Thank
something
you,
because
appreciate it.
Christian and I get together almost every summer, and we taste lots of wine together. We often have our that Canadian wine conversation, and your name always comes up, and we always have that, like, yes, definitely. It's funny that we mention always on the local, say, oh yeah, one of the best in Canada, but darn it, when you taste rosés from all over the world and you say, yeah, this is the cream of the crop in the world, and this is truly what people around are thinking, because the Tractor and Vine is truly at the next level. And also, so what's new this year? So this is for Tractor, 93 points, Carl's Wine Club. Thank you for giving us access for some of these very precious juice, because unfortunately, Tractor is not going to be back for quite a while now. So this is the kind of a last chance to get your hands on some Tractor before he comes back, if Mother Nature cooperate, probably until 2026, right?
Yeah, the next release, if everything goes okay, will be spring 2026. So whatever fruit is out there, again, we'll probably such low yield that we'll make a red Pinot Noir, but we also have to set the plants up for fruit for next year. So that's the main priority, not really the fruit for this year. If we get a little bit, great, but it's making sure the vine grows enough that we can put down at least one arm, one cane, one side of the plant to give us some crop next year. And
maybe before we talk about the new source of Cabernet Franc, let's clear the air here. It's not like with the cold snap, the vines now we're assessing, and it seems like the vines have survived in majority across the country. So because I'm talking to people, I have a lot of talk with people in Nova Scotia and Prince Edward County and Ontario, and I got a phone call a couple of days ago, and someone asking me about the replanting program. I'm like, huh, what do you mean? And it's like, well, yeah, but my understanding is all the plants are dead. So I think it's important for people to understand that the vines are not dead. It's what happened, it's the bud, it's bud damage, bud death, not plant damage, which is completely different.
Right. So there's like at Solo, I'm talking my situation anyways. So pruning, the vines were green when we were pruning them. But when we did our bud analysis in January, where you take so what we did is we took 10 shoots, 10 buds long, and then with a razor blade, you cut the buds to expose 3 buds in there. There's primary, secondary, tertiary buds. So your primary bud is your great year, full crop, everything's great. If we get a little bit of cold, -22, -24, then that bud usually dies, and then you have your secondary bud, which gives you about a half a crop, which happened last year in 2023 from the 2022 freeze. And then if that goes, which happened this year, then your tertiary bud, which is no fruit but has capability to shoot. But when we were doing it, doing the bud analysis, all 3 were dead. But that tertiary bud can be so small sometimes you actually microscope to see it.
Okay.
So, but at the same time, it's called latent buds, where the plant itself creates its own buds along the channel of flow, of sap flow and such. So,
okay,
that's majority of what we'll probably see, and most of it coming from the bottom. So we're going to have to renew plants. But as far as the replant program goes, so at a certain point when you had a high percentage of loss, it just makes sense to normally those would be the older vines, because they've been taking beatings over the years and such. It just makes sense to pull everything out. And by that time, maybe it's time to change the post. The wires could be changed, maybe update irrigation. So there's a lot of that happening when you're up around the 70% damage.
Yeah.
And then when you're interplanting new plants with such older plants, they take quite a while to pick up and get to the same stage. So it's just better to start from scratch and
Okay. Oh, okay. I appreciate that precision. Right. So that information. So let's move to the new Cabernet Franc, because it's the first time that you're shifting from the Fruitville Ridge, which was your classic source of fruits since 2015, I believe.
Yes, 2015 was the first vintage, yeah.
Yeah, so you're moving to a new, Frank's Vineyard, Frank's lot, whatever it calls, but that's what we have this year. So it doesn't have the single vineyard appellation, but it's still Solid Okanagan Cabernet Franc, single varietal. And I have to say, from Mira's assessment, it is her favorite Cab Franc rosé that she had from you today. So, I mean, it worth something to my opinion, because she's a very big rosé fanatic. And to hear that, no, I really, really, truly enjoyed it too. A little bit, it's 2023, a little bit more weight, a little bit more texture, really soft on texture. I get a little bit of that sage, the South Okanagan sage herbaceousness that comes in, but it's berry and orchard fruit, beautiful peach in there. I really like that aspect. And a little salinity at the end as well on this wine. So well done, complex, but very quenchable. And there's a bright acid in there that just makes it. Yeah,
it's very very, a lot of saline. I get the wild strawberries. I get quite a bit of seashell too, which we in 2015 and I believe 17 in Fruitvale Ridge, there was a little bit of that crust seashell in there and they were the warmer vintages. Of course, this is a different vineyard. So Fruitvale Ridge got hit pretty bad in December 2022. Normally we're getting 5 to 7 tons, which is about 300 to 400 in some cases. We were lucky enough to get a ton. So we basically just, and of course, lower the yield. You have to, we have to try to recoup expenses and stuff. So the costs were pretty high and not really affordable for rosé anyways. So we were putting it in our red program for K Little Vintners, which is fine. So for this year, I don't know if you've actually read, I don't know if it should be on the back of the label, but so
I got the you have one too. Go ahead.
So if you read it, we actually made some changes. So moving forward, as exclusive rosé winehouse producing vineyard and varietal designated rosés. So this kind of spawned this year or the next couple years have spawned where, single vineyard rosés are great. They're amazing to make. They're special, but at the same time, with the vineyards we work with, we only can make a certain amount. So in order to build a label, a brand, and so forth, you have to have volume. So what we're planning to do, of course, we're going to have our single vineyard designation. We're going to have our Solum Rosa, which is our estate vineyard, but we're also going to start producing varietal rosés. So we can do a Pinot Noir, but have, make more volume of that as
from different sources.
So this can be more in liquor stores, more, it can be in more restaurants. So that would be your first experience. And then you can come to the taste room, purchase those, but also try our single vineyard lineup, which is not really available in many places because of the volumes. So we thought this year would have been a good time to start that. So it is a single vineyard, this Cabernet Franc, but it's not a vineyard designated. We may or may not get it anymore. And that's what we found in the early years where, like Canyon View, it was a beautiful vineyard. We made it in 2015, Pinot Noir, and that was it.
Yeah.
We didn't get
but it's hard to build a brand. It's hard to build a brand and the recognition from the consumer when it switches every year, right?
That's right. And we were fortunate enough to be able to lease Tractor and Vines in 2016 off of Canyon View after that. So we're 100% control. We can have the vineyard every year and have some consistency. So that's that. Fruitvale Ridge, where we'll continue to make, when it comes time this year, obviously there's not going to be anything there, but so
are they replanting at Fruitvale? Are they replanting at Fruitvale, or they keep going with what they have?
No, they're
it's still alive.
To me, it still looks like, I haven't been there yet, but it does look like it's alive. It's a north-facing slope, and it gets the sun goes down, so it shades quite early in the I guess earlier than most places in the Okanagan, anyways, because of that. So they do get a little bit colder in the winter, so they've had some damage. I don't think anything is dead there, which is good. Just there's not going to be that that fruit for the rosé.
Okay.
So for us, for next spring, whatever rosé may be left, if anything from this year, would be carried over. But after that, we'll have our K Little White, we'll have our K Little Red, and that's pretty much it.
So because you have a decent amount of the Fruitvale Ridge 2022 available, because there was a nice crop. Yeah. So now you're carrying the 2022 Fruitvale Ridge at the tasting room and on your website. So everyone who wants to revisit that outstanding 2022 Fruitvale Ridge, it's available. Oh yeah, what a bright! This wine will age with outlast. To my opinion, will probably outlast all of your Fruitvale Ridge that you've made so far. I mean, it was a little bit more pungent at the very beginning, but you've seen by the end of the season last year how much rounder this wine was getting, and you can see the trajectory of that wine. It's like so much aging potential on this one. So that wine is available. So here, the 2023, the novelty here, it's not available. This one is project to be released only next year, when there's not a whole lot around, but you can get this here with Carl's Wine Club exclusively this year. Exclusively this week. And I have to tell our listener, it took some convincing. Daniel and I have a long relationship. We've been having a lot of fun selling his wine. But this one, it was not a yes from the go. I had to work hard to get access to that 2023. I tasted it out of the tank, and it was awesome. I'm like, no, I would love to feature that. So I finally, Christine actually finally put the seal of approval on on that one. But yeah, no, I'm super thrilled. I'm stoked to have the 2023 for the Cap Franc. It's still come out at Fruitvale Ridge.
Yeah, I know.
But it's gonna come out. Yeah. So it's thank you for doing that for us and for our members. It's really exciting to have that new wine of the portfolio.
No, it's we're really happy with it. Again, it's got that. It almost has that Provence Mediterranean smell to it.
Yeah,
I'm getting so
absolutely.
much of that seashell and the wild berries off of it. It's really
Yeah.
nice.
Yeah, and I love that little ratio like that savoriness as well to mix up with that. So a nice complexity, bright acid, good weight and texture. This wine has everything. So and it's gonna age also very well. So yeah, so that's for this week. If there's any wine that you know already from Seven Direction that you might would be curious or maybe want to add on to your order, let us know. Shoot us a note. We'll see what we can do. But yeah, the 2023 Tractor and Vines Pinot Noir Rosé, the new 2023 Cabernet Franc Rosé are now available with Carl's Wine Club until the end of the week. So, Daniel, man, thanks for joining me. It's I
Absolutely.
promise you, it's going to be a short one. We're not going to talk too long.
Oh,
25 minutes at the most, we're good. Yeah, I know. No one believes me anymore when I say that.
it'll be an hour. Well, you gave me Pinot Gris when I came in. What do you expect? You gave me that little bit of a boost.
Yeah, exactly.
Actually, here, you
Exactly.
want to pass me the Pinot Gris?
Yeah, that Pinot Gris from
This is a Cab Franc Rosé. I don't know if you guys can see it. And this is the Pinot Gris skin contact from
Riverstone.
Riverstone. Like that's pretty like did a good job. A little bit of
Yeah.
that pink pinch. It's really good actually. It's a very nice Pinot Gris. Yeah.
Yeah, fantastic. Kane does amazing stuff with his portfolio, so we're really excited. We're going to do an announcement soon about Riverstone and Carl's Wine Club, but it might be the winery of the year at Carl's Wine Club this year. So yeah, tune in soon. But Danielle, I know that you have some stuff to do at the vineyard here in Summerland,
No worries.
but
Lots
I
of light still.
appreciate I appreciate your time. Thanks for joining me, and we'll pass the chair back to our very own Mira, and we'll go from there. Danielle, thanks for joining me tonight. Have a good one.
Appreciate it. Thanks everyone who's ordered already. Really appreciate it. Their orders will be going out tomorrow for those of you that ordered the last couple days here. So, Christine and I appreciate it. Take care. Enjoy. Thanks.
Thank you. Have a good one. There you go. So yeah, I think every time we get on an interview like that, I always feel like energized and like it's so much fun to pick the winemaker's brain and to share with all of you and everyone who are listening the passion of their winemaker, but also the technical point of their craft that I mean, when it's time for vineyard works and all that we don't have, I mean, we're way too busy tasting hundreds of wines every month that we don't have time to go out in the vineyard. But it's always so great to chat with someone like Danielle, where, yeah, I mean, it's a privilege. So we have here the Cabernet Franc Rosé, brand new. So not available anywhere, not even on their website. I mean, this is an exclusive release for Carl's Wine Club. This wine will not be released until probably next year. And so that Cab Franc is something unique in terms of texture. And like Daniel was mentioning, that little reminiscence of Provence, that true home of rosé in the Mediterranean Sea, especially in France. So really, really good. Tractor is always Tractor, and the crown jewel of rosé in Canada. It's going to be interesting to see how Tractor fare in our rosé report this year, where I'm going to do the rosé marathon at the end of June 28th, I believe. We're going to spend 6 hours tasting dozens and dozens of rosés, probably between 60 and 72 rosés from all over the country. It's going to be at the end of June. So, and as usual, Tractor and Vines and that new Cabernet Franc will be part of the lineup. And also, I need to mention that Daniel Bontorin, or Daniel here, will be one of our panelists at the Pan Canadian Masterclass in June, hosted at Esther Creek with our partner Mark Hopley and all the Esther Creek team, where Daniel's going to be part of the 13 winemakers who are going to join us, or winery owner going to join us as a panel tasting with the 90 people who are going to join us to taste wine from coast to coast. From Nova Scotia all the way to Vancouver Island, including Prince Edward County, Niagara Escarpment, Niagara-on-the-Lake, Kelowna, Skaha Bench, Naramata Bench, everything in between. So 13 wines from all over the country. So it's really exciting, and Daniel is going to be part of it. So how are we going to do that? It's after we're doing in June. We're going to do the bubbly from Benjamin Bridge. And after that, all of the flight of whites. And before we break off for a lunch break or a snack break, we're going to have the Rosé, the Tractor and Vines Pinot Noir served to all the guests before breaking out for break. So I can't wait to serve this very Tractor and Vines, the new vintage, to all of our guests at the Pan-Canadian Masterclass this June 15, host at Esther Creek. So yeah, now this is about this. Oh, Mira's back. Hey.
Yeah, that was awesome. I was here, you know, just nearby, listening to the chat. A great chat. And of course, I still have, look at this beautiful rose you gave me. Talking about roses. Yeah. Lots of fun.
Wow. I mean, you mentioned earlier, before we were on air, Mira, that it was probably your favorite Cap Franc Rosé that Daniel's made to date. So I take that very seriously because you've been a big rosé advocate, and I trust your palate in terms of rosé here.
But also, you know what it is. Cap Franc is not my favorite varietal. I've never been,
you've been hard to please with Cap Franc, that's for sure.
Right? And this Cap Franc Rosé, holy cow!
I know. That's why I'm saying I need to take that seriously because if you
awesome.
Yeah.
So I mean, it is summer. We had a little fun, right? Like we stuck these in the lake. We're like, when you talk rosé, you're talking summer to me. So if it's the middle of winter and I have some rosé, I'm pretty happy.
No, it sure is. And I mean, these shots were awesome, and let's keep that in mind. So now it's a beautiful time in the Okanagan. I went in the lake on May the 11th. So it's the earliest so far since we moved to the Okanagan that I dipped my toe. Not only dipped my toe, I went full on after baseball on Saturday, May the 11th, full on swim. So it's a really gorgeous weather right now in the Okanagan. But I'm kind of disappointed. I completely forgot to talk about the Pan-Canadian with Daniel. I was too focused on vineyard talk and details about the new vineyards and all that. So yeah, Daniel's going to be joining us, and I'm so thrilled to have him part of the discussion and the celebration of Canadian wines with us. Is going to be great to have him with all of us. So
yeah, it'll be fabulous.
Well, I mean, it's just a natural thing, Mira. If we have all the best of the best across the country, we need to have the Rosé Master part of the conversation. I mean, it's a no freaking brainer, right?
Yeah. And I mean, we don't want to exclude rosé overall too, because it's one of those often overlooked things like, oh, this is a wine tasting coast to coast. Let's go to, the big varietals.
And then my favorite is, it's only rosés. I can't rate that more than 90 points. It's only rosés.
Some people say that.
I know. That's why I mention it. Right? But anyway, it drives me nuts.
Yes, you can. If it's a purpose-built rosé. And I think that's the thing that's pretty special. You guys didn't chat too much about it, but if you were ever to ask Daniel, I mean, he's still in the other room here. But, we've asked him, you know, how do you make the rosés? And he is so specific. These are very purpose-built rosés. There's nothing wrong with some of the other rosés out there, which are more like a fun wine to drink on the patio that the winemaker put together almost as an afterthought. You know, they put all their thought towards their Cab Franc and their Pinot Noir and this and that. And then if they have some left over, or if it's not quite the quality they want to see in a you know, a reserve red or something, they might make it into a rosé. That's often what happens. And that's not bad. I mean, there's plenty of amazing rosés like that, right? But when you get a purpose-built rosé, where Daniel specifically selected the vineyard to make rosé, where everything is temperature controlled from A to Z so that it's like exactly how he wants to see it, you know.
Well, I tell you that it's the picking date, right? It's about picking date when you pick for the most, like the acid level, sugar ripeness, but everything has the spreadsheet for rosé harvest. It's not the same one for the spreadsheet for your still red. So if you harvest and crop and do your vineyard management specifically for rosé, but it gives you, just like you mentioned, Mira, a purposefully built rosé that will age. And that's why Daniel's rosé age so well. And I don't know if Daniel, if Christian and Karen Tortenson are still in the live, but they were with us last year here in Summerland for the vertical tasting of all the way to 2012 Tractor and Vines of the Pinot Noir. And that's how you realize that, yeah, if you make it purposefully, but these wines will age as well as the red or ageable white. So absolutely.
It was spectacular. I mean, you can see as they age, they do get a bit darker in color. I know color is so important for Daniel. He's always striving for the lightest color with the most flavor and concentration and complexity. And he certainly gets that. Like, that's what's one of the things that if you taste Daniel's rosé next to other rosés, it's that complexity, it's that creaminess, it's all these layers, right?
The texture also, but you see also, yes, they get darker as they age, but there's also the style. Styles has evolved through the years, and I mean, yeah, it's always, like I said, it's a privilege to be part of it and see how these wines age so gracefully. And after doing the Pinot Noir last year, we're doing the Cab Franc this year, and that vertical tasting will be held on June the 13th, 2 days before the Pan-Canadian Masterclass.
1 day before, June the 14th. So it's actually the Friday.
You're right. You're absolutely right. The 13th is the welcome reception at Mythology. Yes. Thank you.
So
that's why.
Before the Pan-Canadian.
Yeah, you are absolutely correct. And that vertical of Cabernet Franc Rosé, it's one of the things that I'm the most excited about during the, because after putting together the Pinot Noir vertical, now I know what I'm getting into. It's not a surprise anymore. So before, my expectations were here, I was more curious about the result. Now I know. I absolutely freaking know where we're going with that. So I can't wait to have these wines in my glass and to share that. And not only we have 30 spots for that tasting, but we're going to have 9 other winemakers from all over the country sitting in the room tasting these rosés with us. So we can pick Daniel's brains, but we will also see what the other winemakers are saying about that. So it is pretty darn fucking cool.
Very cool.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
It's actually going to be at the BC BTAC, which is at Okanagan College. They have a really cool tasting lab there where they test a lot of the beverages in the Okanagan, mostly the wines, right? They test them for all kinds of different things in the lab there and how they age and things like that. So they've got a great space that we'll be able to use for that tasting in particular.
Yeah, absolutely. So on Friday, June the 14th, so that's going to be Daniel's vertical tasting. If you have any question about that, let us know. Send us a note. We're going to put a couple tickets on the side for you. The link for to purchase the tickets for that event should be ready in the next couple days. In the meantime, you can get your 6-pack of 6-pack, 12-pack, 24 packs, as many as you want. There's no restrictions.
Until Sunday.
But the Discovery Pack include 3 of the 2023 Cabernet Franc and 3 of the infamous 2023 Tractor and Vines Pinot Noir Rosé, unfortunately, the last iteration until probably 2026. So stock up, let us know. And Mira, if you can put the link here.
Yes. Absolutely.
That would be great if we can put the link to order in the chat here so everyone can put an order in. I mean, I've been mentioning it for multiple years now that not only Daniel Bontorin is the Rosé master in Canada, especially after having made over 60 different rosés. These are, to our opinion, the last 3 years been the highest rated rosés in the country. So it's worth it. Try it if you haven't before. It's really, really, really worth it. So here we are, 6:06. There's a few other things that we wanted to chat about. We just touched on the Pan Canadian. I think it was one of the other points that we really wanted to talk about. Here is Daniel Bontorin. And do you have any other ads that you would like to show?
Yeah,
this is our lineup. This is the rock star, superstar lineup that is every of these guys are going to be guys and gal, because there's one lady here. She's one of the most powerful lady in the wine business in Ontario, Sue-Ann Staff. Sue-Ann is going to be part of the boys club at the weekend of celebration of the Pan Canadian. She's going to be joining. But yeah, Sue-Ann Staff, Brian Schmidt, Marcel Morgenstern, Lou Puglisi from Bellaterra, Keith Tyers from our last week feature, Clausen Chase, Benjamin Bridge. We have Jean-Benoit Deslauriers, the winemaker of Benjamin Bridge, who's flying all the way from Nova Scotia to be here. And from the Okanagan, John Skinner from Painted Rock, Jeff Undermark from Mount Boucherie, Rob Amersley at Black Market, obviously Mark Hopley at Hester Creek, our host for the weekend. Who else from the Okanagan that I'm missing here? Daniel Bontorin, Richard De Silva, that I spend the afternoon with this afternoon. So I'm gonna. It is my segues. If you look behind me, on this side, there's something purple that you guys can see, right?
I believe that's burgundy, but not purple.
Okay, it's wine in the box. It's wine in the box.
Never in Carl's Wine Club history featured a wine in a box.
This is wine in the box. Not only it's wine in the box, it's premium wine in the box. It's the Silva juice. It's the Silva red wine Merlot Malbec blend. Right here for you, a 3-liter box. That is so cool. That is so freaking cool. Right?
Which is like 4 bottles. Okay, so it's like 4 bottles of wine. So you see this bottle, like 4 of those, but in that small box. I wish you'd left me one of the boxes because it's pretty crazy how more compact it is compared to 4 bottles.
Bring that to Mom downstairs, please. Thank you. Okay. There's a box coming for you. So yeah.
And I'm gonna go get the large format wines because I think those are pretty spectacular to see the difference too. I mean,
I'm not sure what she means, but that's okay. So why I spent
this is like we had this, Daniel brought this over, actually, Daniel Bontorin last summer. So this is a 1.5 liter, which is double a normal bottle, right? Oh, thank you. You brought me the box. And these boxes have 2 of these. So 4 bottles. But look how much more compact it is. That's crazy. So you can have one of these in your fridge for a party or something.
Yeah. So
And
through
I have never actually, I'm so spoiled because I only started drinking wine because my husband is a wine guru of sorts. This guy right here. I have never had a wine in a box before.
Okay, I'll tell you one thing.
Once
There's
at
a
party.
lot of shitty wine in the box. There's a lot of
and
shit
I was
wine in the
like, I
box.
had it once at a party and I was like, that doesn't taste like what I normally taste like in wine. So I never tried it again. But I just had this today, and this is like what I've come to expect from De Silva. It's pretty spectacular. So
It is. Like, it is not only like it's what's in De Silva's bottle. I mean, this is not a wine made just for the box. This is not a side like what we're not using for Veneto or what we're not using for. No, this is bled from the tank before bottling just to go straight in the box. Is the same wine that you find in all of the beautiful De Silva label. What you know from De Silva, that's what's in the box. This is freaking unreal quality for wine. That's why Richard doesn't call it wine in the box. He calls it premium wine in the box. And because that's what it is. And I mean, I'm excited. So
I'm excited too. So we've never featured a wine in box. The one incredible thing about, well, there's a few incredible things. So one incredible thing is that it is a savings compared to buying 4 bottles of De Silva wine. Quite a bit of a savings. So perfect if you're having like a barbecue or party or something like that, going on a picnic somewhere. And the other thing is it lasts, what, a month in the fridge?
yeah,
because it's airtight.
It's airtight. So the bag in that box, it's airtight. So there is absolutely no contact with oxygen. So it's going to last for at least a month. So there's a few exciting things here. Here we have the 2022 red in there. It's a Merlot Malbec blend from De Silva. And I was this afternoon with Richard. We tasted different stuff in tanks, and the 2023 of the Vino Blanco, so a blend of Rieslings, Muscat, Chardonnay, and Viognier. It's going right in the box in a couple of days. Okay, so we agreed, Richard and I said, okay, I want 40 of these boxes each, and he's going to hand box them from the tank before his bottling run in a couple weeks. So it's going in the box. And I'm like, Richard, I mean, a box of red and a box of white, but Jesus Christ, it's May. We need some rosé. And he's like, okay. My rosé's going, blah, blah, blah. So anyway, we've done the blend. Okay, we've patented something, a multi-vintage rosé for you guys, specifically for Carl's Wine Club. A quarter of 2021, 50% of 2022, and 25% of 2023. So a 3 vintage of rosés in that box for rosé, which is going to be boxed. Yeah,
and it's in my glass right now. So Carl was literally there like 6 hours ago blending rosés with Richard De Silva from the tanks. You guys came up with this blend, and then you brought home a sample of it, and I love it.
So
it passes the Mira test. You were going for that Mira test. I passed.
I mean, the 23 was super geeky. And we're like, okay, if we want wine in the box, it needs to be approachable. The 2021, there were still half a tank of 2021, which is uber soft. And the 2022 is the best rosés, that is the best Corderosa that Richard's ever produced. So we put half of the 22, a little bit of 21, a little bit of 23, and boom, that is freaking fantastic. So now we have the 3. We have the red, the red in the box, the white in the box, and the rosé in the box. So watch for that at the end of the weekend. It's coming up next week. It was not supposed to go that way. Our calendar was not built that way. But when you get an opportunity to feature something cool and special like that, I mean, why not? That's what we do, right?
Yep, it's pretty exciting. So yes, if you can make it to the Okanagan in June, come on down. But if not, live vicariously through these wines. See if you can get yourself a few bottles or a box and taste for yourself. Share it with your friends, and let's support our amazing winemakers and wineries right here at home, hey?
Absolutely, absolutely. And we're still working on the Pan-Canadian lineup. I mean, not the lineup, but the full event schedule, where now we have the vertical tasting with Daniel Bontorin. We have talk with Richard De Silva. So Richard, on this Sunday, we want to go visit the Naramata Bench with our group and spend some time at De Silva. We obviously have the Saturday.
See, if anyone is curious about that weekend, you can see the whole itinerary of all the different events planned from Thursday to Sunday here. So if anyone's like, oh, I wish I could come to the Pan-Canadian, but I can't do the ticket price, or I can't do that day on the 15th, there's now events on the 13th, the 14th, 15th, and the 16th. So it's a 4-day thing. Come to one of them. Like, we've made some of them super approachable. You can come have dinner and wine for like $45, which I think is a great deal for dinner and wine these days. Or you can come to the Rosé Vertical or the Pan-Canadian tasting itself, or you can come winery touring with us, which is not like any other winery tour I think you'll ever be on, because it is behind the scenes, it is vineyard walks, it is barrel tasting tank samples, chatting with the winemakers. Spectacular. So
Yep, absolutely, absolutely. And stay tuned for more news about Riverstone and Batchelder. I'm not telling you what it is, but we're going to have an announcement tomorrow about our Winery of the Year, Carl's Wine Club Members' Choice Award, Ontario Winery of the Year, and BC Winery of the Year. Well, I'm not telling you who it is, but we're going to do an announcement tomorrow. Some really cool stuff are coming up for that. Two more things. One is the most incredible day of the year.
First, yes. According to Carl.
First, it's Mother's Day. Second, it's Mira's birthday.
Right.
But in terms of wine, the most amazing wine of the day of the year, it's World Chardonnay Day. Okay? Believe me, if you're around the Okanagan on World Chardonnay Day on May the 25th, not this weekend, next weekend, buckle down, because you're going to get your world rocked. It's already started. It's already started to arrive. It knocks at the door 3 times today, 3 different courier, and it's going to be like that for the next 8 days. Just telling you, there's a shitload of Chardonnays who are arriving from all over the country. We're going to do our World Chardonnay Day celebration on Saturday next weekend, and there's going to be 60 to 70 different Chardonnays open. So I'm just saying, you're going to have some great content. We're going to be live for 6-7 hours, or I don't know how long it's going to take me to go through all that. I'm lining up a bunch of winemakers to talk about Chardonnay. Heck yeah, Karen Chapman, you know the address. You better be there, because no varietal marathon are the same if you and Jan are not in the house with us. It's always better with you. So you better be there. May 25th, not this Saturday, the following one. I'm expecting you in Summerland celebrating with us, Karen. So yeah, this is for it. And at the end of June, like I hinted with Daniel, it's going to be our annual Rosé report. And at the same time that Chardonnays are arriving, there's also Rosés coming in these boxes as well. So we're going to have a large selection of rosés available, not available, but like, who's going to be tasted, reviewed, and scored that at the end of June.
Fantastic. Fabulous. Well, happy Wine Wednesday, Canadian wine lovers. Hope you had a fabulous time thinking about rosé, chatting, learning about rosé with us tonight, and maybe sipping on some rosé if you're lucky like that. I sure have a few here, which are pretty spectacular. So
these are two of our top rosés from last year. I mean, not that vintage, but their previous release. So Seven Direction and De Silva both were in our top 5. So
yeah, right. I've got to say the De Silva nose right now is getting like sage. It's getting like, it's changing. It's been open for an hour. This is what I love about Tractor and Vines and the Seven Directions rosés is they're complex. They're just like any other fantastic wine where they progress through the evening and they get better and better with more air.
Progress and evolve, right?
And evolve, as opposed to sometimes if a rosé is cheap and cheerful, you want to drink it while it's chilled because basically it's not going to get that much better if it comes to room temperature. But these are the opposite. Like you almost don't want them chilled. You want to get all those flavors and geek out on the complexity of it.
Absolutely.
And it's the same with the De Silva one. I find this is another one that it progresses in the night. And right now I'm getting more herbaceousness on the nose, which is really fun and
which
delicious.
was one of the dominant characteristic, especially in 2021. It was really Spanish rugged style. In 2022 was worth all of this world. But yeah, matching 2021, 23, and 22 together like you have in your glass, it's a lot of fun. So
woo, that's really cool. And what was
by the way,
behind?
I think speaking about Chardonnay, I can't hint that I might have a tank sample of the 2022 Legado Chardonnay in a couple of weeks during Chardonnay. Yeah, just, you know.
That was your top Chardonnay from the Chardonnay Marathon, what, 2 years ago, right?
Nah, but it was our number 2 wine of the year.
Oh, that too. That too. Wow.
The 20 anyway, so it's the same breed. So yeah, 22 is shaping up to be one of the most spectacular Chardonnay because 22 was a fantastic vintage for white here in the Okanagan. And Richard said it's probably one of the most prolific one he's ever made. So
amazing.
I may have had a touch in the tank last week, so maybe I know what I'm talking about.
Awesome. All right. Well, we'll chat soon, you guys. If you're around in the Okanagan in the next few weeks, let us know. Quick plug, if you're in Ottawa in July, let us know because we're going to be there. We're thinking maybe we should do a members get together of some sort. And if you're thinking of going to wine country, either Okanagan or Niagara in September, that is when we will announce our winery of the year. Member get together is for this year in September. So let's stay in touch, guys. Cheers.
Canadian wine lovers, Carl's Wine Club members, thank you for spending the Wednesday with us. See you next time.